Welcome back, Star Wars fans, to the greatest series ever made on YouTube, The Rise of the Sequels. This is the show where I respond to videos that in my opinion unfairly bash on the Star Wars sequels and try to point out all of the baseless arguments and hypocrisy that I notice in these videos. As you can probably tell, I enjoy the sequels quite a lot, and I like defending them. But I'm not just a sequel fanboy. I love all of Star Wars with a burning passion, but I also feel like the sequels are the ones that need the most help here on this platform. Anomaly Inc. has his Revenge of the Prequels videos, and I have my totally not ripped off Rise of the Sequels videos. It's called balance, folks. Anyways, today we're talking about everyone's second favorite Australian Star Wars YouTuber, Robot Head. In particular, his most popular video, the one titled Disney Doesn't Understand Lightsabers. Now just FYI, I have nothing against Robot Head. I actually really respect him as a content creator. I wish I could make videos like he can, but that doesn't mean I agree with his opinions. Oh no. If me and him ever sat down together, the war of the countries that no one cares about would begin. No, me and him don't see eye to eye when it comes to Star Wars, but please don't take this video the wrong way. It's most of all for entertainment purposes. I like the sequels and I think this video paints them in a biased light, so that's why I'm responding to it. It's really not that deep. Now I know most of his videos aren't that serious and he really doesn't use that many thought out arguments, but that's also not really his vibe. He's an entertainer, so obviously he over-exaggerates some of his points. That's fine. However, from a little bit of digging on his Twitter, it's clear to see that he has a true disdain for these movies. He hates Disney Star Wars more than Americans hate universal healthcare. Alright, but that's not fair. Twitter, as we all know, is filled with fake news, so instead let's take a look at his YouTube channel. So from just a quick glance at his videos, it becomes pretty evident to see that this man is educated because he knows how to use persuasive techniques like hyperbole. Dumb movies for dumb people?
Disney doesn't understand lightsabers? The Last Jedi bombers? Worst spaceships ever?
Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing new about hyping up your video title a little bit to get more views. I mean, we all do this. I often try to make my video titles more exaggerated than what the videos themselves are.
The Rey vs. Kylo Ren fight was perfect. Exposing Mike Zero.
The biggest fraud on YouTube?
Robot Head doesn't understand lightsabers?
See, I do this too. The only difference is that I didn't get 10 million views. And yes, there is extreme negativity towards Disney Star Wars and the people who like these movies, and I don't like that, because we are positive people. We're all about that positivity. Dislike these movies all you want, but you don't gotta be a dick about it. Alright, now I'm contradicting myself a little bit, because the title for this video does the exact same thing, but I promise it's just to prove my points, okay? Alright, I have no ill will against the people who watch his videos. It's just to try and give his channel with 300 times my subscribers a little taste of his own medicine. Heh, take that, you gimp. Trust me, it's for debate's sake only. But also to get views. Alright, I've been rambling on about his titles, but honestly, they're not the worst part. They're just titles. I mean, if he can prove why these statements are true, then they're good titles. The only problem is, a lot of the time, he can't. He says a lot of shit about the sequels that I don't agree with, but he also makes some fair points and we'll get to those of course. But yeah, I believe he is being too harsh on Disney Star Wars. He is a man who shares his passionate hate for these movies, and as a lover of old Star Wars, I get whiny and sad when people talk shit about some of them, because they don't deserve to be singled out for being bad. They all suck. Call them all shit, but if you point out the bullshit in only some of them, then you can bet your ass I'm coming for you. No, but I don't want there to be any hard feelings between me and Mr. Robot Head's fans. Like I said before, I respect Robot Head as a content creator. His videos are so well made and he's created a wonderful following. I just fundamentally disagree with him on a lot of Star Wars related issues, but it's not any deeper than that. In this video, I'll be trying my best to dissect a lot of the arguments he puts forward in in this video, and I'll naturally also point out the areas where I agree with him. Disney's Star Wars isn't close to being perfect. The movies do have a lot of flaws, and I'll happily talk about them, but they're also not nearly as bad as a lot of people like Robot Head say they are. We are here to spread positivity for the Star Wars sequels, because the prequels already have so many defenders on this platform. They don't need my help, and the OGs are, well, the OGs. You have to be a very brave man to go up against those. So yeah, I love all Star Wars, but the sequels need my help, so that's what I'm here to do. This is the Rise of the Sequels, Robot Head Edition, and today we're reacting to Disney Doesn't Understand Lightsabers.
I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order.
Why would Luke call it that? He has been told it's a lightsaber his whole life.
Your father's lightsaber.
A new lightsaber. His lightsaber.
Ah, yes. A Jedi's weapon.
Yes, it's a fucking lightsaber, you twats. Some have said Luke called it a laser sword to show Rey how stupid the idea of him helping was. It worked. It sounded stupid. Hang on, that's what he ends up doing anyway. Oh well.
I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order.
Yes, of course Luke knows it's called a lightsaber, but he is also not wrong for calling it a laser sword, because that's also technically what it is. It's a sword made from lasers. Well, technically kyber crystals, but it still makes a laser. We all know that this is called a broadsword, but technically it's still just a sharp metal stick. Luke knows it's called a lightsaber, but he's purposefully saying it wrong. You even explained why it is he says it like this. It's to ridicule the idea that him taking back his lightsaber will somehow save the galaxy from the entire First Order. He's pointing out the insanity in this idea, but he's also wrong for saying this. You point out that in the end he does exactly what he's ridiculing. He goes out with his lightsaber and faces down the First Order, and you take this as an opportunity to critique the movie, even though this is the point. Luke realizes and accepts the importance he has within the galaxy as a symbol for hope. He decided to run away and hide because he truly did believe that the Jedi were the problem. In the originals, he fixed the mistake that the Jedi had made, and he thought that he had done what they couldn't. And he was right about it. But then he, like all people, also failed. He made a terrible split-second mistake that ended up blowing up in his face, basically allowing for the Empire to rise again. Now, we've talked about Luke's motivation so much on this channel before, but he's so filled with shame and remorse, and he truly believes that he is only a burden to the world. He doesn't realize that his name alone can spark the fire in an entire rebellion. He knows he doesn't stand a chance alone against the First Order, but that's not his purpose. His purpose is to be a Jedi and to be the guiding light for the people in the galaxy who still want to fight back. He ridicules Rey and calls a lightsaber a laser sword because he knows that he won't be able to do shit with a lightsaber. He learns his lesson throughout the movie, and in the end, he embraces his status as a living legend. Him calling his lightsaber a laser sword actually makes sense within the story. It's not that Rian Johnson forgot that it was called a lightsaber, it's that in this state of mind, Luke would think that lightsabers are useless. But he's wrong. It's not a writing mistake, it makes perfect sense within the story, and I'm just sorry that you can't see it that way.
George gave us two versions of the lightsaber. In the OT, it was a mythical weapon linked greatly to the Force. The power of it was built up over time. The fights were more about the emotional weight than the skills. Two old friends meeting again. The depth of a father testing his son. The son trying to save the father. It's really not until the third film that we see Luke use the lightsaber in a controlled manner. And only once do we see a non-user handle a lightsaber. Wasn't even in a fight.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
With the prequels, George had a chance to show us what a fully trained Jedi could do with a lightsaber. And it was glorious. We had seen it as Luke and Vader's weapon. Now we were seeing it as a Jedi weapon. A powerful, scary weapon that required training and force powers to control. You didn't see anyone just pick up a lightsaber and start swinging it around until, well,
Alright, listen, most of what Robot Head says about the lightsaber in the OGs and the prequels is true. The originals showed the lightsaber as a mythical weapon that was reserved only for the mystic Jedi and Sith, and then the prequels showed us the height of the Jedi Order, and indeed, it was glorious. The problem with his argument comes when he decides that Disney screwed up all this shit. He says that the lightsaber is something only skilled people with the Force can use properly, and uses that statement to criticize The Force Awakens because Finn uses a lightsaber. Let me just explain to you how wrong this argument is. There are multiple times during Star Wars canon that non-lightsaber users are able to wield a lightsaber with good results. First of all, General Grievous, the literal murderer of Jedi. He doesn't have the Force, but he's killed countless Jedi. Please explain. And what about Pre Vizsla? He wields the Darksaber, which is a lightsaber, and he uses it to duel badass Force users like Darth Maul. Again, please explain this. Alright, now to be fair to him, he does explicitly say for the prequel era that you didn't see anyone picking up a lightsaber and just flinging it around. So maybe he's talking about a person who doesn't have the Force and isn't trained in lightsaber combat. Because yeah, that's like Finn. But then boom, we have Cad Bane picking up a lightsaber and using it to overpower Obi-fucking-Wan. Yeah, sure, he gets disarmed pretty easily, but he still manages to fence a little bit with Obi-Wan, who's an elite lightsaber user. This is just like Finn. First time we see Finn using a lightsaber, he loses to a stormtrooper, and then we see him fighting Kylo Ren, who's toying with him. Kylo could have killed Finn on multiple occasions throughout that fight, but decided to play around with him and torture him. Only when he gets complacent and Finn manages to get a shot in does Kylo actually decide to disarm him, which he does pretty fucking easily despite being injured, showing how unexperienced Finn really was with a lightsaber. This argument is completely baseless because yes, you understand the originals and the prequels, but for some reason you don't understand the sequels. It's just because it's Disney, right? Disney is a corporation, all they want is money. Unlike Lucasfilm, which is a corporation built solely to tell stories and would be happy to make no fucking profit. Heck, they'd be happy to make negative profit. Honestly, what's his problem with Disney? Disney are behind some of the most iconic movies of all time. Like The Lion King, for example. And yeah, they want to make money, but they still hire competent people with visions of their own to make these movies. Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams had visions. You just don't like them because they work for Disney. Trust me, man, your arguments would have a much better foundation if you tried to look past your bias and critique them like the rest of us. There are many things that these movies do wrong, but this point about regular people using lightsabers is not one of them. Your argument doesn't work. But anyways, let's move on.
Finn's gonna take on Kylo, a trained Jedi? Isn't Kylo just gonna... Right! Oh, good. Oh, no, hang on. He's gonna fight it out. Just put any other Force user that is trained with a lightsaber in Kylo's place, and it's ridiculous that Finn isn't beaten instantly.
But Finn is beaten instantly. Yeah. Kylo takes Rey out of commission because she's dangerous. She has the Force, and she's powerful with it, but Finn is just a regular dude that has some experience wielding stormtrooper weapons. Again, you can clearly see that Kylo is toying with Finn. He calls him a traitor and decides to make his life a living hell. With a couple swings, Kylo forces Finn to the ground without breaking a sweat, but then he walks away from him. He could have killed him right there, but he didn't, because what would the fun in that be? You're treating this scene as if Finn ever stood a chance. He doesn't. Not one bit. This movie doesn't try to fool us. Going into this fight, we know that Finn isn't going to win. Kylo, just like he should be, is completely dominant. You're just reaching for things to hate at this point, and it's not working out for you. Then he talks about Rey versus Kylo and how it's unrealistic. And this is an argument that I've talked about too many times already. So as to not waste your time, I'll just leave a link to a video I made explaining why this fight makes complete sense. And I'll leave that link on screen right now or in the description. Rey versus Kylo Ren makes sense. However, he does raise a fair point in the middle of all this, which is how unrealistic it is that Finn doesn't get seriously injured from this slash in his back. Now yeah, I understand that Kylo is not trying to kill Finn. That would be too easy, and not nearly painful enough for this so-called traitor. No. He's purposefully dealing a non-lethal blow. My problem is that we don't see the consequences of this slash in his back. He's eventually just fine. No physical limitations to speak of whatsoever. Now it is true that the Star Wars universe is home to some incredible healing technologies that even if his spine was hurt, he'd probably know how to fix it. It's not like here on Earth. It's definitely a bit useless, and I understand the problem Robot Head has with his lack of injury. It could have provided an interesting addition to Finn's character. However, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter much. Kylo wasn't trying to kill Finn, so Finn isn't dead. It's not that deep.
Okay, this shows they don't understand Luke more than they don't understand lightsabers. We'll move on.
Damn, I would have really enjoyed seeing him try to explain why Luke is bad in The Last Jedi. But luckily for me, I don't have to repeat myself for like the 11th time. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, it's too many times for my own good.
Ha! The only time two lightsabers touch. And Rey has beaten both of these people. Rey is God.
Rey literally loses to Luke. Have you watched the scene? She gets schooled, and in The Rise of Skywalker, Rey and Kylo have their fair fight, unlike in The Force Awakens, and he beats her. Kylo is stronger than Rey. It's official. I don't know what you're on about. Alright, so now he talks for a while about the throne room fight scene, and how poor the choreography is. And I agree. I overall like this fight scene because when you play it normally, most of these mistakes are really easy to overlook. But I agree that the choreography is god-awful when slowed down. Not trying to defend these disappearing weapons and kicks that hit 3 people. No, they're mistakes. But what I will point out is how he says,
"Lift your standards, people. They spend months working on these fights. Look at the training they went through for the prequels. See how many mistakes you can find in those films."
Ah yes, lift your standards, people, and look at the prequels. Don't look at the Lord of the Rings or Infinity War or some shit to learn about fight choreography. No, look at the prequels. Now you guys know how much I love the prequels. I defend them whenever I can, but they're not perfect when it comes to flawless choreography either. See, the prequels aren't always perfect either, but listen, I don't care. I'm not trying to take anything away from these scenes because I absolutely adore them and I will always find them entertaining. Well, maybe not quite this one, but you get the point. I love the fight scenes in the prequels despite their mistakes, just like how I love the fight scenes in the sequels despite their mistakes. And hey, I'm not trying to force people into liking fight scenes with bad choreography, and I usually don't like counter-arguing with, well yeah, but what about this? Because I think it's cheap most of the time and irrelevant. But on this case, Robot Head literally compared the choreography in the sequels to the prequels, saying, look at the prequels because they have perfect choreography. I'm just using his logic against him and showing how this statement is a little hypocritical. Both the prequels and the sequels have good moments of actions and bad moments of action, and it's up to you whether you want to look past these mistakes or not. But don't try to pretend like one is perfect while the other isn't. It's just not fair or valid. Now he ends off the video by summarizing his points. And again, I don't disagree with everything. He obviously does have some valid points, like how Rey saw that vision when she first touched the lightsaber, but then it just isn't talked about for the remainder of the trilogy. Or how there are occasionally inconsistencies with how damaging the lightsaber is. But most of the time, his arguments aren't really arguments, because they're baseless. You can't really say that Disney doesn't understand lightsabers when these same kinds of inconsistencies can be traced all the way back to the originals. During the cantina scene when Obi-Wan chops off the arm of that one dude, we see blood coming out of his arm. No scorch marks, which is what's supposed to happen, but I guess George Lucas hadn't thought of that so early on in the series. And again, what about when Anakin's lightsaber gets stuck in his robes, or gets blocked by thin air? I don't really know what that is, but it sure as hell ain't on purpose. Either way, neither a robe or air can stop a lightsaber. That's inconsistent. That's a mistake. See how stupid that sounds? It literally doesn't matter. All these movies are inconsistent. Not just the Disney ones. It's part of the Star Wars charm, and if you think the prequels are fantastic movies, then I really don't know why you're shitting on the sequels, and vice versa. I really don't agree with Mr. Robot Head on most of this video, but we can't be too harsh on him. His videos are meant to be satire, to a degree. He obviously doesn't spend that much time writing his arguments. He instead focuses more on making engaging videos, and he succeeds at that. Accompany that with the very popular hate train towards the sequels, and boom, his video hit 10 million views. Honestly, good for you. I just think some of your arguments are a bit underdeveloped, but that's just me and my opinions. What do you guys think about Robot Head? Do you like him? Do you dislike him? Do you like some of his opinions, but not all? Or do you just watch his videos because they're a great time? Please do let me know down in the comments. Again, don't see this as an attack on Robot Head. He's far more successful on this platform than I can even hope to be. I'm more just like a pest to him. He literally won't give a shit. No, I'm making this video for me. For the people who also believe that the sequels get too much undeserved hate. For some reason, too many Star Wars fans have some kind of vendetta against Disney Star Wars, and while there definitely are things to criticize about the films, people still go way overboard. But yeah, please be civil in the comments. If you're going to be toxic, then be so towards me and leave other people alone. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. It feels so good returning to this series. I've honestly really missed it. If you want more videos like this, perhaps even another one on Robot Head, because he has plenty more videos just like this one, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Join my Discord for wholesome Star Wars discussions. But yes, no more rambling. I hope you all had a wonderful day, stay safe, and peace out.